Okay, yeah, my name is Hakeem Kae Kazim, and I now live in Los Angeles. I'm from Nigeria, born in Lagos, originally from Abuja, Ogun State, and I'm here at the moment doing Obi's film, and it's called Last Flight to Abuja.
Wow,
Yeah.
Last Flight to Abuja. And
Yes.
is this your first project with Obi Emelonye?
It is actually, it is. It is my first project with Obi, and I met Obi actually in Monaco,
Right.
and we had a good discussion about Nigeria and the state of the Nigerian film industry, and you know, he said he had this project that he wanted to do, and I said I'd come back and do it.
Hakeem Kae Kazim. Hakeem Kae Kazim is our rep in Hollywood. He started in South Africa, where he did Hotel Rwanda, and moved on to Hollywood, and he's appeared in some of the biggest films in Hollywood, like X-Men, Wolverines, where he played this very crucial role. They're not big parts, they're very strong roles that he played in these films. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean. He worked with, you know, a bunch of big A-lister Hollywood actors and actresses in that film, Pirates of the Caribbean. He was in 24, where he played the nemesis of Jack Bauer. So it's an honor, a privilege to work with this humble, talented, and very disciplined actor, from Nigeria. He's, like I said, representing us in Hollywood and doing great things and flying all over the world, making films. I met him in Monaco Film Festival when I took the Mirror Boy there, and he came with Jetta Mata's Black Gold. And he saw what we were trying to do, and he said, look, forget about the money, I would come and contribute to the development of African cinema. It is not so that I make money because I get paid enough in Hollywood, but I would help bring the profile of the industry up. And has he done that? He came on set, he was helping all the younger actors and actresses with developing their character, giving them skills that he acquired over the years in Hollywood. And it was a breath of fresh air. A lot of people talk about Nigerian artists giving problems. He never complained one day about the food or the hotel or anything. He was a perfect gentleman. And Hakeem, I just want to say thank you for helping make this film what it is.
Hi, I'm Jim Ike. I play the character David in the movie Last Flight to Abuja. Well, David is going through something profound at that moment.
Jim Ike is a curious case in Nollywood. He attracts the kind of interest, and the kind of news you hear about him are not always positive. But boy, can the man act. You know, I was part of Jim Ike's development as an actor in 2001 when I went back to Nigeria to shoot films, and he was very close to me. And seeing him much later at the height of Nollywood, you know, the old Nollywood, in those stereotypical roles where he was always raping somebody, I asked him, why? What happened to the art inside of you? And he gave me a very poignant answer. He said, in an industry where nobody was making an effort, if he tried to act very well, he would look out of place. So he wanted to blend with the madness, and he did blend with the madness. So I told him, had a very long conversation with him about this film and what I want from it and what I want from Jim Ike in this film. And he said, look, I have to jettison, throw away that old image of the rascal, the guy, the rich man's son that he usually plays in Nollywood films, that he has to evolve as an actor to the level where he's confident and bold in his ability. And because he was working amongst professionals from Hollywood and from the creme de la creme of Nollywood, he felt he could now act without looking out of place. And by God, did he act.
So, what brought you to Lagos? Business?
No.
Pleasure then?
No, not exactly. I wouldn't call it pleasure either.
He acted like he's never acted before. You would not believe that this is the Jim Ike of old. He was controlled, calm, and professional in everything he did. And the role that he played is very central. In an essence, he became the hero of the film. But it was an honor working with him again, and expect great things from Jemai, because the man can play.
Yes, once again, my name is Jide Kosoko. It's a fantastic experience working on the set of The Last Flight to Abuja. I honestly would have been very annoyed with the producer and director if I have not been invited for this production, because it is one of the very few productions that we can actually use as a reference point for Nollywood. The Last Flight to Abuja, apart from the beautiful storyline, we have a fantastic team of crew. Obi as the director, and of course the cameraman. And we also have that standard in the artistic efforts of all the cast. You can imagine the caliber of artists on set. You know what it means? It is an experience that I love so much. The Last Flight to Abuja is a production to watch.
Jide Kosoko, the godfather of Nollywood, at least the Yoruba section. Jide has worked with me in the past before on a film called Lucky Joe, where he played a rich man, a rich politician on the run from the law, and got embroiled with some charlatans. And having worked with him on that film, and the support he gave post the production, when we had the premiere in London, he came and he was very supportive. I felt this role of Chief Nike, who's this rich executive of a company, suited him to the T. And a lot of my editors have asked, where did you find this man from? He can play, he can act. I said, yes, the man can act. He has a lot of experience. He trained on stage, and he's kind of transferred the skills to the screen. He can be funny if he wants to be. He can be professional if he wants to be. He can be serious. And in this film, he was a serious executive. Looked the part, played the part to the T, and would be there at the premiere once again. Jide, thank you very much for bringing some magic to what we do.
And I tell you what, it read very well.
Ali Nuhu is the AMA award-winning actor from Kano, originally from Gombe, but this guy can act. He has made the transition from the very Indian-like singing and dancing Hausa films to mainstream Nollywood. Ali Nuhu just arrived from Kano to be part of this project. He's also an associate producer on the film. I beg, put your hands together for Ali Nuhu. This is Ali Nuhu. Hi. We have to make him look older because we don't want a 12-year-old on the scene. Really? We want a 35 or 36-year-old, not a 12-year-old.
I used to think it'd be fair for me.
No.
Someone looking at them.
No. An older lover boy.
Really?
Not a young lover boy. Welcome to the set. So that's the caliber of people we have on this set, and that's what makes me very excited about this project. He's not out of place in mainstream Nollywood because he commands the kind of respect amongst his peers as he does in the North. And the casting of Ali Nuhu is very strategic because I felt, at the beginning of the project, he was an associate producer on the film. And even though he had engagements, family engagements and professional engagements that meant he could not play the role that I originally wanted to offer him, he made concessions and said, you know what, I'll play a slightly lesser role than we planned, just so that I am part of this project. And I'm very happy that he's played this role because he played it very consummately and brought with him a lot of following from the northern part of Nigeria. And as a filmmaker, you have to balance the artistic for the business.
Please, Susie, I'm sorry. It's not what it seems.
I'm Anthony Monjaro. I'm playing the role of Captain George in The Last Flight to Abuja.
Anthony Monjaro and I have come a long way. He first worked with me in 1998 on a stage play called Crack of Dawn that I did at Lewisham Theatre in Southeast London. And from that point, I knew I found a wonderful actor with comedic timing. He went on to appear in about 7 other of my films, starting from Damn Good Friends in 1999, which was my first feature film. The only film I would say he didn't act in is The Mirror Boy, because there was an issue with availability and he was busy doing a project at the time. You know, but Anthony Monjaro he looks great as a pilot. In fact, I'm wearing his costume. You know, he looks great as a pilot, and he almost immersed himself in the role of the pilot, because I actually wrote the pilot role for him. You know, because like I said, he's been part of what I've been doing for a long time. Uche Odoputa is one of the most recognizable faces and names in Nollywood. You know, he was shooting a film in Port Harcourt when I contacted him about this role in this film. I'd always wanted to work with him, but never had the opportunity. So when this opportunity came up, I said, look, there's this film that I'm doing. I need a certain type of people, certain type of actors.
I don't have your time now, you hear me? But if I miss this flight and come back, then I'll know what to do.
In the next episode, we'll try and look at the crew behind the scenes of making this film what it is, and the rest of the cast. We're looking at some of the locations that we shot in, like the airport, like Zynox computer offices where we shot most of the office scenes, like the streets of Lagos, which is another story altogether. But until then, I look forward to seeing you at all the screenings of the film. Support African cinema, not just Last Flight to Abuja. We can only get better if we get support. So, we owe it to ourselves to tell our story, and we owe it to ourselves to support those stories when they're told. God bless you.
I have been authorized by the board to take all of you to Abuja.
Abuja! I'm living that good life. I'm steady getting that money. Smile every time that I wake up. I'm living that good life. I love my life.
Welcome aboard Flamingo Airways Flight 212 to Abuja.
120 knots.
Flamingo Flight 212, you're clear for 340, Roger. This is Flamingo Airline Flight 212. We have an emergency.
Please. I'm crazy. We're going to die. We're going to die.
Flamingo Flight 212. Can you hear me?
Where you getting close to a daughter. Open your eyes to where your sense of form of butter.